And with that, I'm going to sit down and turn the microphone over to the fun stuff tonight. And we're going to learn how to make snowman light up globe Christmas ornaments. And it's the small version or the large version. Take it away, David.
So a little bit add on to the show and tell. For you new guys who haven't seen this before, I previously did a demo on the snow globe. The inspiration for the snow globe that I did before came from Emma Cook, the tiny turner out of the UK. Now the snow globe she did, it just had a plain basic base on it. But I got a wild hair and decided to modify it and made it into a candy dish as well. So I would like to take credit for it, but that would be wrong. So I have to give her due credit for it. But then she also modified hers and downsized it and turned it into a Christmas ornament as well. But now when she did her Christmas ornament, she used a pack of fairy lights like this and just hid the big battery pack with the AAA batteries in the branches of the Christmas tree. I didn't really care for that, so I decided I wanted to take my own spin for that. So in order to do that, I enlarged the snowman's hat a little bit and used the wine bottle fairy light and hid the battery pack inside the snowman's hat. So it's the one, it's the, you can find them on Amazon. It's the wine bottle fairy light. Anyway, fits nicely inside the hat. The rare earth magnets go in there, hold it on nicely. And if you can see what you're doing, I'm sorry, was there a question? Absolutely, I'll pass them all around. Oh, you can pop them easily, detaching from the top of his hat, turn the lights on and off to save the batteries, and have a little extra sparkle in your tree. Yes. There's earth magnets in there that attach it together. Got just enough strength on them to hold them together. So, pardon? Button batteries in there. Yeah. No, there's 3 batteries in there. Yeah. No, there's a total of 4 magnets. Hold 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Yeah. So obviously you want to try to keep the weight down. So you don't want to use woods that are too terribly heavy. So. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's get to it. Nice thing about this, it doesn't take a lot of wood, so it's something you can do with your scrap pieces. I hope nobody's too offended. I kind of took some shortcuts here to get this thing going. Everybody's familiar with turning a piece of square wood into round wood, correct? Everybody nod your head. So first thing you learned, well, that's the first thing most people learn when they're doing wood turning. So on this one, we're using about 2.5 inch, a little bit smaller ornaments. So for our headpiece, we want to start off with about a 1.5 inch diameter piece for the head. So you're going to turn a sphere. And does anybody remember what I said about turning a sphere when I was doing the full size ornament? Exactly. Why does it not have to be perfect? Because it's a snowman. And you're going to drill a hole in the bottom of it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And you're going to put a hat on the top of it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So we're not worried about being perfect. And even if you can turn a perfect one, it don't matter because you're going to mess it up anyway. You know, if you want to make your snowman a little more egg shape or a little fatter, you know, have fun with it. Not that we're that familiar with them down here in South Texas, but even if you do make a snowman with a perfectly round head, as soon as the sun comes out, it ain't going to be around very long. This really doesn't need much in the way of finishes. You can do whatever you want to. On mine, I'll just typically use a little bit of Yorkshire grit. Again, they're typically not going to be handled a whole lot. You know, typically the start of December, you hang them on the tree. Middle of January, you take them off the tree. Mm. Yeah, brown first and then the white. Nice and shiny. Well, that's so in the globe part, you can throw some grass and leaves in there when you put the fairy lights in. Yeah. Now I've got a couple of different suppliers of the ornaments. So there's a couple of different sizes of the neck. So when you make yours, you'll just have to measure and see what size Forstner bit you need to drill. But just get one, get the bit you need to drill. These ornaments are plastic, yes. I've dropped them enough times to know they do. Now, when Miss Tiny Turner does hers, she typically uses glass ornaments. So she's a much more delicate lady than I am. I'm not a lady, but she's more delicate than I am. Just let me make that perfectly clear. I am not conf I am not confused about that, not at all. That's a 1/2 inch. But like I said, it kind of it varies because depending on the manufacturer of the ornament that you get, it varies because I've got two different bulbs at the house, and they have two different sizes of neck on them. So it just depends on it depends on the ornament that you happen to get. Yep, I just did a quick check. But typically on your forstner, again, you need to check. But typically, if you go up to the end of the cutting head, that's deep enough to take care of your depth for the neck. Appreciate it, James. Yeah, I've got myself a timer too, but like I said, I was just doing a quick check to make sure I didn't need to go any deeper. And we know we're good on the depth and everything, so now we can go ahead and part our head off. Oh, but not quite. Hold the phone. Got to drill one more hole. Because that string of fairy lights has to pass through the head. And it's hard to do that through solid wood. But just 1/8, 3/16, doesn't have to be very big, just something big enough to for those fairy lights to pass through. Smoky. And now we can part it off. And there's our head. All clear. See, that's why I said we only need one nick around here. One nick is enough for any guild. This is not my lathe. This is one of the club lathes. Okay. The hatch, you want it to be about for your cylinder. Once you get turned down to your cylinder, you want to start with something about 2 to 2.25 inches in diameter and about 2.5 inches in length. A little bit more to play with, but you want to finish up with about 2.5 inches in length. At least I think this is the hat we're getting ready to do here. So we'll start off with the brim of the hat down here. Crown will be up here. So the head of the snowman is going to recess into the hat a little bit. These, you see I've got my black mark there, so that's so yeah, that should be good. So yeah, my mark right there is 2.5 inches. So. And I am right at 2 inches in diameter on this piece right now. Now you see if you had that fancy wave cutting jig, you could make a cowboy hat for your snowman and give it a little Texas flair. But I don't have that yet. Yet. I bore out a 3/4 inch, three quarter. Let me double check that. I bore out a 1 inch hole. So need to leave at least 1 1/4 diameter on the hat. But then you also want it to flare out at the top. So you make sure you have enough meat at the top to drill the holes for your magnets. Yeah, on that Spectraply hat, I got a little thin on it and found a little void in the plywood. So I've got to put a little band around the bottom of the hat to cover up that void. And that's the nice thing about these. You can go to your favorite craft store, get some pretty ribbon, and accessorize your snowman and cover up your oopses. Design modifications. That's my sanding tool. Can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but it's a guy out of the UK. Almost everything he does with carbides. He does use some traditional tools, but I'll have to track down his name and share it with you. But obviously it's homemade. But just a typical little sanding jig. It's got a bearing here, the hole's drilled in, and it's got a magnet at the bottom to help hold it in place. Pardon? Yeah. Like I said, there's a magnet down. I don't know. I'll get all the details together, and I may even do if y'all want, I'll do a demo on this. But they've got they've got that. Sorsby has that fancy one with the adjustable. I've got an adjustable, so you can make them longer if you want to, but make it fit your hand. Did he? But yeah, cheap, easy to make. So yeah, I'll plan on doing a demo on this guy too. But the friction, yeah, just the friction of turning against the wood. Again, we're boring a 1-inch hole. And I had my tape on there from one I did earlier today. That's too big. It's not going to go. That's too big. It's not going to go. So right there, I'm at almost 2 1/8. Before my battery pack, I'm at 2, just shy of 2. So that gives me the 1/8 that I should need for my head or my snowman to go in. So I should be okay right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get it with our finish. Pardon? This is Yorkshire grit. But again, you can use whatever finish on yours you want to. One of the ones back there, the one I did today, I actually did a quick CA finish on it. Pardon? Yeah. Guess I'm good on my depth. I can go ahead and move it out of the way. Appreciate y'all's concern for my well-being. Give myself a quick mark at my depth there so I know where I want to part it off. I don't like taking it out, but I don't have my air compressor here, so. Nope, still not quite deep enough. Had a little bit deeper to go. So. Hmm. Maybe so. All right, now we're deep enough. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't work for NASA, but my dad did. For the Apollo program. Technically, he worked for IBM, but he was subcontracted out to NASA. That is until he encountered a drunk driver on the highway one night. Give myself a little support there. Yeah, missed my mark a little bit on the cutoff. Fogwood. Yeah. It might be pecan, but the only thing I can say for sure is fog. Yep. Removing my black line from earlier that's now too close to the bottom of the blank. After I had to do some adjustments on my length. I hit it with that Sharpie before it had any kind of finish or anything on it, so it kind of seeped into the wood. So the top of the hat may end up getting a ribbon on it to accessorize it. Make it more festive with ribbon. Sparkles. Yeah, I loved going to Joanne or to Joanne's after Christmas and getting their Christmas stuff on sale. Of course, they're going out of business. Yeah, but I've been up to Joanne's plenty of times since they've announced they're going out of business. So I've got lots of ribbon. You just want to flatten out the bottom of that, and then you just figure out how much, what your thickness you want for the top is. Somewhere around quarter, 5/16, maybe 3/8 of an inch. My Thunder. That's all right. We got it. And after I knocked the most of that Sharpie line off, I forgot to finish it before I parted it off. So there's that. So, yeah, it's ribbon. Ribbon time. Let me throw a little finish on the top of it real quick. Huh? 5 RPM, yeah. Ten RPM for that part. So, all right. Four Mondo magnets. This is the part that's nice. If you've got a nicely figured piece of wood, it really helps you get this part lined up nicely. You can take your center finder. Are we okay on the view here? Find a distinguishing characteristic on your wood here. Well, it beats sitting in the desk and the ink drying out on it. Now I'm going to go to the corresponding grain pattern on the top side. Mark it on there. We're going to take our Forstner bit. Is my head in the way? I'm just going to mark the outside edge of that Forstner bit. Yeah, this is the 1 inch. Again, I'm just going to mark the outside edge of the bit at that line that I drew across there. Come about a 1/16 in off of that line. Well, you check your magnets. See if you're deep enough. You want them to be just flush with the wood. Still need to go a little bit deeper on that one. First one is plenty deep enough. Probably would be a little easier to do it on a drill press, but you don't have to. You can do it like this. Drill press would probably be a little bit easier. Make sure you don't go too deep in case you hit a soft pocket in the wood. Pardon? I just used my center finder and struck a mark across there. I used the grain feature to hit my mark across there, and then use the corresponding grain feature on the top on the top piece to so the grain features will line up when I'm done. Which if you've got a piece that doesn't have a lot of grain to it, or it's really dark or something, it's not going to make that much difference. Or if you've got something you need to hide or cover up and you're going to put a magic ribbon on it, it's not going to make that much difference. Okay, holes are deep enough. I don't know if you've ever played with these little magnets or not before or not, but they go together one way. They will let you know, and you don't want to figure which way it is after you got them glued into your hat pieces. But floating top's not good when you want them to stick together. It can be interesting in certain pieces, but so the easiest way I found to make sure it don't happen is figure out which pieces go where and mark them. Yeah, it is. All right, y'all ready to try to finish this? We apologize for that unscheduled interruption and intermission. All right. So we got our hose drilled in the cap, got our batteries marked here so we know which one or which way they go. You can use anything. This is a Star Bond thin. You can use whatever you got handy. Whatever one you like to use to stick your fingers together works fine. Okay. Now this one gets a little interesting because it's the fairy lights. The cord doesn't have quite enough body to allow you to thread it through the head and into the globe at the same time. Because as you start threading it through the globe, you get a little bit of resistance as it binds up on itself inside the globe. At least. Then once you get, so Debbie, this would be where you put your grass in for your South Texas snow globe. So then once you got it up here, of course, if you're doing it out in your shop, you're going to have some sawdust and things to go in there too, which will kind of give it that South Texas homemade feel. Yeah. Get your little glob on there. If you're a little messy with it, that's okay because you're going to put a strip of ribbon around there to class up your snowman. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and put a little ribbon of glue all the way around him anyway, just to get that good and secure all the way around there. Flip the hat over the battery compartment, but make sure you have it right side up. Get your good dollop of glue inside the hat, around the top of your snowman's head. Give it a little twist. Hold it in place and wait for the glue to cool off. The joys of hot glue, yeah. Again, this is one of those projects that, you can use a lot of your little trash pieces and throwaway pieces. As pin turners, we're always used to using small pieces and, the stuff that a lot of people throw away. Last last meeting, we walked in here, I went back and looked in their trash can. I found a 3-foot stick of maple like this right here. Yeah, not a lot of figure to it. It's the kind of stuff Miss Deb likes to use and make her pins and does her painting on them. But that's what I've been using to make the eyes and noses for my snowmen. Get that, take it, turn it down to about the size of a pencil. I don't know if y'all can zoom in on the top camera. Just basically your little carrot nose or a little Christmas tree and some little eyes with a tenon on it. After our little intermission, I'm not going to get hooded up and do more turning, but that's all it is. Just a little carrot, and a couple little eyes with a tenon. Figure out where you want them to go on your snowman. Be careful with your drilling. You don't want to go too deep and drill through your fairy lights that you got going through there. That would really be too deep. Make sure you remember which side is up and which side is down, so you don't want a really goofy looking snowman. Always do your dry fit and make sure you're good to go with your depth and everything and your tenon size before you put your glue in there. Normally I use tight bond when I do this part, but again, with everything I had going on today, I didn't bring my tight bond, so we're just going to do some super gluing today. And I'm super gluing everywhere. Shh. It's okay. It'll be all right. As long as I can get the eye in there where it's supposed to be. Hmm. And then on the inside of the top, you have a good place there to sign your work if you like to sign it. And one last thing. Just a little micro drill with a really small diamond bit on the end of it. My drill doesn't go down, doesn't chuck up small enough for my tiny drill bits uh, that I would need to drill a starter hole for the hook, the eye hook. So one of my cap magnets is arguing with me. Nice thing is you can always argue back and put him back where he belongs. And dress him up with ribbons, and there you go. He definitely needs a few ribbons, so And I just attached the ribbon with hot glue. Any questions? Glad you enjoyed it. If you're still watching, I appreciate it, Gordo.
Thank you, David. You did a good job. How are you feeling? Anyway, you did a great job. Helen's already told me I got to make about 12 of them. So. Anyway, thanks for the demo.
I'll get the info together on all the piece parts and everything and send it out.